I'm asking her to keep. Sasa sina pesa, nitakupea nini? Nimeshapea. Guys, I don't want to lie. Sitaki kudanganya jamani. Rudi wewe. Kesho nitapika hapa. Yeah. Guys, this is a menace now. You know? I've never seen this type of chronic begging.
Good day, my YouTube family. I hope it is well with you today. I hope it is well with your household today. And if it is not well, let us say together with me the common, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us not our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. But deliver us from evil, God. Deliver us from evil. Was it not Jesus who said, let all the children come unto me? Laissez venir à moi les petits enfants, like it says in the King James version of the French. Dee Mwango. Dee Mwango, how could you do this to us, your viewers? In the premiere of Dee Mwango on July 1st, the very first of the month, I was there, the very first of the month, where she has now acquired this new routine where she starts out putting on her green boots, and then she's following the same role that the brother has followed, just to keep a certain number of views. She's not aiming for the million. She just wants to keep the money rolling. So she's following up with her brother's routine, putting on the boots and going out into the field to be in the way, as we all have agreed, of the people who are doing the construction of Dee Mwango. Thank you so much for taking my advice. I was talking the other day about you walking around and taking up space in the construction site and not learning anything. And now you have admitted you are learning. Obviously, you are taking advice. She is finally learning. She is also learning. All right, now she's asking questions, showing us how they burn metal, all kinds of things right now, so that she is not in the people's way. But still, you know, she still has not contributed to labor. She's just going around now, taking up time. First it was space, now it's time. Anyway, since it looks like you do take advice after all, I have a new advice to give you, Dee Mwango. That little baby that you are yelling at, you acknowledge that the baby was crying. Oh, I don't know why he's crying. And then you called his name as if... And Moises, where are you? Where are you, sweet, sweet, sweet Moises? Tell us what Auntie Dee did to you so we can discuss it right here. Let's serve the
I don't know why Moses is crying.
Alright, let the children come unto me. What did Auntie Dee do to you? As she walked out of Palace Medellin, the Villa Medellin, the Grand Palace, alright, the Grand Princess of Villa Medellin, Your Highness, is walking out, doing her videos to keep the money rolling. Alright, she's got this big project that requires a lot of money, a project that has made her broke before she even put the foundation down, okay? I mean, like, she didn't budget beforewards. You know, before you start, you budget, right? Like me, I don't go shopping if I don't have money. And I believe Dee has said something similar. So that means that you did your budget. So you know what things, you should know what things cost if you did the budget. And you have an engineer. That means that that engineer sat down with you and did the budget of the materials. So anyway, she's broke now. As she's going about getting her money rolling, you know, opens the door, and Moises, thank you Moises for doing this, letting us know the kind of character we are dealing with here. Moises is crying, and Dee is irritated that this baby is ruining her video by crying. So she goes, why is Moises crying? And then passes by. She says a word or two and leaves, because Moises, poor little Moises, after getting that beating of that high-pitched voice, shut his mouth up, stopped crying. There were a couple of adults there. They didn't address Dee, but who knows? They probably were saying, like, I don't know how many people outside of the United States go through this, but in the U.S. when I was a kid, okay, when my mother rented homes from people, we were always getting spanked in the behind for any little noises we made, all right? I remember one of the, because my mother rented when we were in New York. She never, she couldn't buy. And especially she was a single mom because of 3 and then 5. All right. So I won't tell you my parents' business, but nonetheless, they didn't get along too well. And they tried to, and bought the last twins, the pair of twins, making us 5, from 3 to 5, and then it didn't work out for the 2 of them again. But anyways, my mother was struggling with us, initially 3. And we couldn't run. It's not like, even though the places that she lived, she didn't like living in buildings with us. So we always lived in a place where there was yard outside, but it wasn't our house. So if it was a duplex, and two of the places where we lived in, lived in a duplex. So, and during those times, I was very, very young. So enough to want to go and do some physical activity and run around. But the thing is, when you're in people's houses, you can't just go and run in the fields. Okay, the landlords, one of them, the brother in the church who rented out my mother the house when I became a preteen, and this guy would literally, like, he lived upstairs and we lived downstairs, and yet he still allegedly heard us running. I don't know, and most of the time, like, what are we doing? But then kids never know what they're doing. It's like Moses didn't know he was crying. Why is Moses crying? And then she passes by Moses, doesn't cuddle him, and leaves. Okay? So then and then the worst part about it is when you have this kind of nastiness about kids, it's like, where is Patience Okwankwo? Like an evil stepmother didn't attend to the child. Okay? So how sometimes, let me tell you, when you have someone who is not too close related, like if it's not your blood, you don't want to touch it, you don't want to cuddle it. Yeah, you can cuddle a little dog. You can't cuddle Moses. Moses is so cute, such a cute little bit. How could you stare at this cuteness and not want to hug him and carry him? Just grab him and carry him and mellow him down. No, it's not her kid. And she finds this kid as a nuisance, okay, and leaves. Somebody must have told her something. So instead of coming to apologize to Moses, no, which of course she doesn't feel like she's justified, because you have to understand the mentality of people who treat others who are not of their kind, especially blacks. They treat other little black babies who are not from their wound like this, okay? So, what they do, and the Nigerians know, because I see them in the Nigerian movies. Thank you. Nigeria, thank you. Because they always show what the Haitians hide under the carpet, and what Dee Mwango was hiding under the carpet. Alright? She makes it look like she has repented by the next day wearing the same shirt to confuse us who didn't know, okay, that she had yelled at the boy for crying the previous day, and then she comes and gives him a coat. I'm sure she's the one who gave him that coat, okay, to put on, so then you can see how cute Moses really was, okay? Because before, he looked far away. And then the next day, when she tried to remedy her own situation that I'm going to deal with today, she took an up-close look so that those who were confused would think, oh, I misunderstood. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't remember. Me, I remembered. Why? It is again showing how we blacks cannot see the beauty of our fellow blacks. The cute little baby that was just born, okay, yesterday. Okay, Dee Mwango is not able to see how cute that baby was. Okay, she took a dog she calls Matt, who is half black and half white, representing Maisha, guys. A little dog with mixed fur, okay? So to huddle and cuddle, okay? And and the joy that she appears to have when she carries baby Maisha. Okay, how often do we see Dee carrying babies? I don't want to say she's not mother material. It's not even about mother material right now, okay? It is about the lack of love that we have for black babies. The lack of love that we cannot even see how beautiful they are. You've ever seen something that is so beautiful and then people put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down, and this is the problem with blackness. And then the thing is, a lot of us who are bleaching our skins and and messing up our hair with chemicals, sometimes when we look back we regret. When we think back of how healthy our hair was, how thick and beautiful our hair was when we were children, sometimes it's not our fault because it's our parents that hate us so much that they go and they put those chemicals, the perms and the curls and whatnot, in our hair to mess up the natural texture and the natural curl of the sulfide bonds of our hair. Okay? So we look back and we regret. We say, if only I could have done something about it. If only I could have done something about it. Okay? So guys, this is something that you can do. Those of you guys who love your little black children, teach them to stop taking things from people. I know kids, they love gifts. We love gifts. But the thing is, the gifts, like in Haitian legend or superstition, there's this thing like if somebody who is stingy give you something, like I think your nails will peel or something, your skin will peel. So it's like, don't take things from stingy people. So usually when you take something from stingy people, you blow your nails. And the thing about stinginess is that it comes in so many different facades and colorness. Sometimes the person may not be stingy, they're very giving, but the problem is they're not giving because they love you. They are giving because they're expecting something out of it, be it something superstition like blessings from God, or be it because they know other people are watching and they need those other people to think that they're good. Okay, so that's all stinginess. Okay, so this is the situation here that we have with little Moses. Okay, so little Moses is crying. Dee shows her true self, and then the following day she does the stingy thing of pretending as if she is giving attention to little Moses, when Dee Mwango cannot give attention to little Moses. She's trying to rectify her wrong because it's gonna be the better for her YouTube channel, not because she feels better about little Moses. So now that I'm addressing this, Dee, you have to be real. I've been hounding you about being real, and I'm coming back at you about being real. So Dee Mwango is not sincere the second day when she gives the lady with the baby on her back that extra money. No, she just wants to look good. It's for image. You see, the first day when she yelled at little Moses, the problem is that it was spontaneous. She did not expect it. She did not expect for the baby to come out. It wasn't something that she had planned in her video. Okay? So she unthinkingly, did the yelling. And as she was doing the yelling, she may have realized that if she went further to abuse the baby, it would be obvious in front of our eyes because she had a camera, and then she had to edit it, so it wouldn't be right to do that. So that's why she hurried out of that place. So the following day, we don't know what happens behind the camera. We don't know how many beatings little Moses got before that he got that coat, and then to be at least touched on the cheek. No, and then the thing is, even she couldn't even fake and be a hypocrite and be a two-face about loving the boy. She just gave him a pick on the little cheek like this, right? She couldn't even fake it. She faked loving Matt, where you could see her face when she's like, oh my God, I have to kiss a dog. And she went ahead and she kissed the dog, right? But she couldn't even do that to little Moses. You know, the little fellow human being, DNA that is 99.9999% like exactly identical to her own. She could not cuddle. She couldn't see the cuteness. She couldn't realize that when she was that little, she was just as cute. You don't see how cute little black babies are. But then, oh, my nephew is so cute. Maisha is so cute. Just like the dog. If it was a pure black dog, would it be that cute, Matt? If Matt had all black fur and not half black and half white fur. In fact, most of Matt's fur is white. Only a sprinkle of it is black. You see, we saw there by the way she treated that little baby who was not from her womb. Okay, the problem of blacks, even from the little baby that is not from our wombs, that we cannot see their cuteness. It is too often that it is Muzungu who have to remind us how cute we are. I remember when I was a little baby, and I don't know, I remember things from very early on in life, right? And I was walking with my foster mother because my mother had already abandoned ship and come to the US, right? So I was walking in Haiti with my foster mother, and there was this lady, and this is where they steal little babies. Okay. I think it was like on a Sunday, we were like going to church or coming from church or something, and this lady saw my cuteness. Yes, I was a cute little baby. I was so cute when I was a baby, man. And when we're young, we're also very cute, you know? So this lady saw my cuteness and just couldn't stand, just had to stare, you know, because I was such a cute little baby. You see? So yes, some of us do acknowledge the cuteness, but unfortunately, sometimes when you cannot trust your fellow blackness for loving us. So we have to teach ourselves about these problems that we have in our society so that we can be trustworthy to each other. This is where Priya was such a big deal. And thank God Priya is okay and safe. Alright? Everybody was worried. Everybody flocked to her channel when we heard about that Indian, but she flies another airline. She's a stewardess in another airline. Alright? But when Indian Air crashed, oh God, thank you for that one survivor. What a beautiful miracle. What a beautiful miracle as you read for him to tell you how the reason why he survived is because he was ousted far from where his seat. He was in his seat. I guess his seat was his like barrier or his cushion, because he was in his seat belt. I guess is why that seat belt in the airport in the airplanes is so important, because you know when something like this happens, we are going to continue flying at that same speed as the aircraft was flying at. Imagine, you know. So if we are not in that seatbelt to cushion us like some kind of a boat or a protective shelter, okay, we are done for. So that seat flew and put him somewhere far on the roof of the high school, of the university. Where at the university itself, 4 people died.
This guy here.
Okay, but I veered away from the conversation. But thank God for that survivor. You know, there's one survivor that I admire, and I won't speak about it much because I don't like to jinx people. I admire this survivor so much because this survivor had a plane crash, I think in the 1950s. Yeah, this survivor is still alive. It is amazing. This survivor is one of those like heading to 110 years old. That is like amazing. Back to baby Moises. Okay. So Priya, okay, who I was thanking God for her safety. She showed us something in Iam Marwa when she kept on telling Iam Marwa and everybody telling her, why can't you love your own the way you love me? Yes, we learned that through Priya. Why can't you love your own? And this is what happens with the Haitians who put down other Haitians. unable to love Haitians the way they love those other people, men or women, that they go and slave after. Unable to love the blacks. In fact, it's not just Haitians. Unable to love blacks. We have something within us that we were taught not to be able to love the blacks. Now, in the doll experiment that they did for the babies, they said that babies are probably born like that. I don't think babies are born like that. You have to realize something. An egg is in their mother, like, since her puberty. Is in the female since puberty. I understand the sperms are spontaneous, just like men are spontaneous, okay? But the egg is in the mother since puberty. So you don't, that's a cell, you know, with the same, like, with a haploid DNA from the mother. So that haploid DNA is processing proteins. So we don't know how we process information. Because the same way when we see, okay, with light, when we see light, okay, light enters through our pupils, okay, and the colors are processed with our cones, and of course the image is inverted, and somehow the entire image that we see turns into chemical information. So we are taking what we consider, but who is to know? Like, you know, all of this that we are seeing is chemistry. Because what is life without matter, right? Without the atom. Even our very cells, every element of our cell is made up of atoms. So our ability to have senses is atomic. It is chemical. So therefore, the corpus luteum, the egg that is within the mother, as it is processing from age of 13, 16, whatever age you reach puberty at. Yes, some people reach puberty at 16, guys. 9, whatever the age. From that time, those proteins are being generated by the DNA based on the stimulus from the environment. So therefore, the racism that is discovered from the doll experiment with babies may come from the stimulus from the external environment of the female. This is why you should start being careful how you treat women, okay? Because it is the way you treat women that their little babies, all of a sudden, when they are born, that it's almost like you think of the mitochondrial DNA, that your mitochondrial DNA only comes from your mother. The same way, a lot of those DNA processes, they come from your mother, because they're the ones that carry the memory of of a previous life, which is the life of your mother. Because the father, it's like, as I said, it's spontaneous, the production of the sperm, so I can't miss. You know, so nonetheless, the way you treat the women, you don't know if that memory is not being processed into and making proteins that would eventually become part of the brain, that would allow a child to think that it is okay to be racist or to be afraid of loving black people. Dee Mwango, to listen to the cry of Moses. This is one of those self-reflections that you need to make, because the same behavior you have towards Moses, you have it towards other little babies. So it shows in the community, other little black babies. I don't know how you are around little mixed babies, because you might say, well, Maisha's your brother's baby. But all I know is that the behavior towards Winnie's babies, they used to put those babies in your room before you became even a YouTuber. I saw it when Iam Marwa came to visit in the old house where you guys were in. You were not a YouTuber. That's the day that your mother asked your brother to help you. Okay, that day when you were in that room, you were with Winnie's babies. But we never see those babies around you anymore. That shows us that they were probably giving you these babies for comfort rather than you enjoying their company. Rather than you enjoying their company. So this is a self-reflection that you have to do, okay? Because you don't know if your future's baby is gonna be black. And guys, a lot of us go through that. All right, where we are, those of us who came from the Caribbean know how our parents only preferred the lighter skinned kids. My mother said, I'm sorry to put my mother under the table. When my sister, who's like the one who follows me, because you see I was the firstborn, so I guess she didn't know what formulas to take. She said, oh, the reason why my sister came out, her color. I told you my uncles are all like colors, because all of them made sure they married, except for the first, my father's first brother married a black woman. Other than that, my father's a baby, all of them that follow, they're all married like half-blood or whatever, mulattoes or mixed Creoles, all that. Nonetheless, my mother claimed that she drank a lot of wine. She didn't say alcohol, she said wine, because the wine washed the blood. Because the wine washed the blood so that my sister wouldn't come out as black. So we know from the Caribbean how it was always how fair the baby came out. And this all came out from, the mixed race, the mulattoes, right? They would wait to see how the baby would come out. The fairer the baby came out, the more they would be accepting of the baby, because that baby could pass for white. Then somebody's gonna say, they have excuses. Oh, it was for survival, because that was the only way we could survive. Is it the only way you could survive, really? You couldn't survive with unity, with loving a black, since you were casted as black. They didn't want to be black because they were mixed. So that's how they started creating different classes based on, like a caste system, based on how dark your complexion was. So we have to start learning to love ourselves, because we can't expect the white man to love us, all right? But we can definitely look at ourselves in the mirror, learn to love ourselves, learn to love our skin, learn to love our hair, and learn to love our babies, be they from our womb or not. Dee Mwango, just like you were caressing Maisha, you did not even touch the baby to find out what is wrong with the baby. You just went in passing, okay? Passed by the crying little baby. Yes, the baby did eventually stop crying, but you didn't go to touch the baby, show the love that you have for little black babies, because you were once a little black baby. Even if the community did not love you enough as a black baby, all right, to caress you when you were crying, at least show the same love that you were faking for the dog Matt, and that are still faking. If you can fake love for the dog Matt, at least fake the love for the black baby that is crying. And by and by, you will be able to come and love the black baby. Because we don't know in the future if your baby is going to be a 0.5 or if it's going to be a little black baby. And the thing is, I understand that a lot of black people, at least from my country, I don't know about other countries, all right, black people from Haiti, or just Haitians in general. And the thing about Haitians is that even if they're not black, the fake Muzungu Haitians, okay, if the baby's not theirs, they don't tend to like the babies. And then the worst part is they don't tend to cuddle and love black babies as much. I remember when I have sisters who are twins, okay? They're not identical, they're fraternal. When they came home, one of them was light-skinned, and she apparently had the better nutrients in the stomach, because she was born fine, and I guess it was her turn to be born. That's why when my mother went to the doctor's like, the babies are coming now. So she was born with no problem. But the other one had issues and had to be incubated for like a week or two. And so my mother was in the hospital with him for the 2 weeks that it took for the other one to get healthy. So when the babies came home, cousins came over, and I have a lot of racist or colorist cousins. So it's like I'm not doing this against colorism for nothing. It's from experience. So I have a lot of colorist cousins who came to the house, and the darker one was the one who was incubated. So they all left that little baby. The baby was so sweet, never, and to this day, this girl has the same personality. She doesn't want to be bothered, and she doesn't bother people. She doesn't want to be bothered. So don't bother my sister. I don't bother her, all right? If she has anything, she comes in us. But anyways, so she was in her little crib by herself. Everybody forgot that she was born. It was the other one who was born light-skinned, the big-headed one. This one who had like proportional. You know, babies have big heads, right? But the other one that was incubated was sort of like proportional. And in her little crib, not bothering anybody, not crying. The other one was like, "Wah!" You know? But everybody went to adore, admire, oh, what a cute little baby. And the little black one that was born, they ignored. I remember, like, you know, because I was so aware of colorism, even at a very young age, I went ahead and I took the one from the crib as they were all cuddling and fighting for the other one. And I held her, you know, letting her feel the same attention that, you know, the other one was getting. But, you know, these days, she still doesn't get it. Like, you know, it's so interesting how some people, they don't understand the struggle that you've been through or the struggle that you understand. And this is why a lot of us blacks suffer. Because a lot of blacks do not understand the struggle. A lot of people don't understand the struggle of Martin Luther King. Even like the Haitians who come here and put down African Americans, claiming that they're lazy, all kinds of stupid things. Haitians don't realize that they're the ones who are lazy. If Haitians were not lazy, you know, they would be in their country building that country. But Haitians do not like to be called habitant, meaning that you do farming. Look at the Kenyans, how they all love farming. You don't do that. Haitian people don't do that kind of stuff. They don't believe in farming. They put down people who farm. They put down the entire profession of farming. The only thing that they acknowledge is the one that get like the doctor in farm, which is called the agronome, like, you know, doctor of agriculture. That's the only ones that they respect. But the peasant farmer, the ones who actually are doing the hard labor, they don't respect. You know? And these are the reasons for our downfall. And yet, we're going from country to country. Guys, I'm not here by choice. I am here because my parents brought me here and I never figured out, and I'm an idiot. I'm not that smart. I never figured out how to go back. And now, when I became of age to try to go back, every time something happens, and I don't even have a community rooted there. So, if it were my choice, I would be there doing agronomy, all right, and farming. Because Haitians don't like to farm. Okay, and they really put it down. Now they are good at gardening when they try it, but it is not something that they put up, that they uphold. Okay, and I mean, I can understand, you know, the whole history of slavery and everything, but still, it is a resource that we should be able to invest in with our time. So, anyways, back to the colorism. You know, so my little sister, she, you know, even today, she may not understand the struggle that I saw regarding what's going on, because often she really gets me angry, and it makes me sick sometimes, because when I see her being cajoled or being manipulated, like brain-wise, like manipulated just for acceptance, and then she accepts it that way because the other sister is accepted. Because to this day, the family is very colorist. I mean, they, you know, they just continue with their same behaviors. But I'm the only one who seems to be able to see these things. They don't. But anyway, that was my little personal life here. But the problem is that too many black babies are not being loved. And I understand, you know, that they had the colorism test, that they tested even babies, because babies are also very considered to be racist and colorist, because they discovered that babies prefer light-skinned people or white people or people with the long hair better than black people with the normal hair. So they tested babies, they did the doll test, and they discovered that young kids and even babies, you know, they all consider black as not good, and they choose the white people or the white dolls, okay, over the black dolls. So this is why a lot now in America, a lot of African Americans are giving their babies black dolls, hoping that the babies will learn to love the black dolls and to understand that black is beautiful, because blacks don't seem to understand that. Look at this sad story about Armstrong. The son got convicted of murdering his father and mother. And the irony, okay, so now the irony is that both parents were black. Okay, this is one of the few ball players who did not go white, who did not go vanilla when he became great. He married a black woman. Okay, in fact, it looked like by the complexion of his the first son is not even his. He married a black woman who already had a kid. All right, and then their son that they had together is accused of murdering him. Now that is a case that I need to go into to see if this boy is guilty, because to this day, even though he got convicted with life imprisonment, he claims that he did not murder his parents. So now the thing about this boy is that your mother was black, murdered, we don't know how, but you claim that you didn't do it. So he looks very honest, who knows? All right, he said he didn't, I don't know. But anyway, he's in jail for life, for 40 years, for the murder of both parents as a double homicide or something. And while in jail, he goes and he claims that this was his girlfriend since even the time of the murder, okay? So he's with this white girl, with a Becky. And now they have a little son, a 0.5, who looks more black than anything, okay? So I'm like, this is strange. Your mother was black. You are accused of murdering your mother, and yet you go and you marry a Becky. I'm like, isn't that like adding more evidence? But I'm like, I'm not trying to say you should add evidence that you liked your black mother, but isn't that adding more evidence to the possibility that yes, psychologically you may not have been proud of your blackness? But anyway, Dee Mwango, I need to go back to you yelling at the baby. That's not how you address a baby. A baby is crying, you go to the baby, you cuddle the baby, you comfort the baby, you talk to the baby. Like, I mean, like a mother. Like, women, this is a woman's instinct, whether you are a mother or not. All right? It is your instinct. But as I said, a lot of people, unless the child is theirs, when it comes to black babies, they don't do that kind of stuff. And I might say, well, you might want to learn from the Muzungu. But I just told you, the Haitian Muzungu is even worse, all right? Because I don't think they treat blacks very well, okay? The little black baby, and then in Spanish they call it negrita, etc., negrito, So the Muzungus and the fake Muzungus do not even treat us better. So now somebody in my last video came in and wanted to find out what I mean by fake Muzungu. All right, and why do I call people fake Muzungu? I have to call them fake Muzungu because these people, back in the 1800s or the 1700s, when the Muzungus were having a field day enslaving us, they were being born, of course, for whatever reasons, be it rape. A lot of people who are fighting against racism today are saying that the women were raped. But we don't know if all these women were raped. Okay, we don't know. I mean, when you look at the conduct of some women, I mean, the world hasn't changed. Like Proverbs says, or Ecclesiastes, or whoever it was, nothing has changed under the sun. Okay, nothing has changed under the sun. So the human behavior. So yes, if a black woman, a slave, was beautiful and she discovered that the Muzungu liked her, she may have a quiet. By the way, we see a lot of marriages that were happening, be they in secret or not, between black women, black men, and Muzungus. Okay, so it was not always by enslavement that the 0.5s became in existence. Okay, they also became existence from a quiescence. So if we think back, okay, to those times, the 0.5s were automatically categorized by many whites as blacks. They were not considered as white. So long as you have one drop, like the one drop blood, so long as you had one drop blood in you, you were black. Okay, so what ended up happening with those mulattoes here in the South, they call them Creoles because most of them settled in Louisiana. I guess maybe it was easier for the French. Maybe the French took care of their point fives better. Like, in Haiti, they left the land for them. And this is why they still rule, because they owned everything when the French left. So those point fives are considered as white by the people from the lands where they are. Like in Haiti, anybody, like if you're light skinned, they I know they have different names for them, different categories in Haiti and in South America, all right? But in general, they will call you white. Blanc. Blanc. Okay, they call the white man blanc. Okay, that means white man blanc. Okay, but they will also call the point fives the grimos, which is like the light skins. All right, the mulattoes, they're all blanc. Okay, and those people enjoy being called blanc and enjoy the privilege, and not beyond enjoying the privilege, many of them exercise and execute that privilege by oppressing the blacks of that place because they consider themselves as superior to us blacks. But the interesting thing is that I came here at such an early age, so it was interesting to see what happens to them when they come to the United States, where the Creole population, even though this is why they went to Louisiana, because in Louisiana the laws were more favorable towards them, less anti point fives. So, but in the United States, they were not, if they discovered you, even because a lot of people like Lena Horne were passing for white. They were able to pass for white. It took a long time for them to be discovered. And by that time, maybe a lot of the laws had already changed, okay? But, because it was a criminal act for them to pass many of these things, marriage between races, all of those were criminal acts in the United States. So every black person fell within the same category in the United States. So when Martin Luther King's laws of 1964 came about, it gave opportunities for everybody who was black, including other minorities, be they Asian or whatnot. So these people come into the United States after abusing the little black children in their countries, and then identify themselves as blacks. They don't even try to pass for white anymore like Lena Horne did, because of the opportunities and the benefits that were being afforded to black Americans. So all people, like, you look at them, you're like, you don't look black. You look Asian, or you look like a 0.5, and in my country you're abusing me and you're looking down on me. But here they pretend that and the thing is, once they acquire the power that they need, that was left as an inheritance for the real blacks, okay, then they turn around now and they start abusing us sneakily, because they have this saying here that they say when you try to argue against colorism, and this is where I came up with the word colorism, because I used to say it was racism, and somebody told me, oh, blacks cannot be racist. Okay, this is where I came up with that word colorism. So they're like, oh, blacks can't be racist. Because we're black, we can't be racist. Yet they are abusing us in the Dominican Republic, where all of them in the Dominican Republic, they're all 0.5s. And then the 0.5s in Haiti are going to the Dominican Republic to even abuse us more, because they found the ability and the power and the support to be able to abuse blacks. Okay, so the racism of the 0.5s, the fake Muzungus, is harsh. It is the harshest racism that exists, because against a real Muzungu, okay, you can fight and fight and fight, and then it will become obvious. But against the fake Muzungus, they will fight and tell you that they have the same rights as you because they fall within the same racial umbrella as you. Wherever it is convenient, they are white. Okay? Where it's not convenient to be white, all of a sudden, they become blacks. They are fake Muzungus. Rocio is a fake Muzungu. And she is exercising her fakeness to call us parasites, because then she could tell you that, oh, my tatera, 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 tatera grandmother was black. she can come in back and tell you that she is a fake Muzungu, and then at the same time she's exercising the love, the colorism, love for Muzungu worship, to enslave everybody in Nyabuanse and call us all parasites, and then call the husband a monkey. So my family and my friends, it's good to be friends and family, because many families are not friends. Let us support little Moses right now. And it's not for money. Little Moses didn't want the money that you gave to, I don't know, that lady with the baby, if it was his mother or not. Little Moses didn't need that coat that you gave him so that he could look comfortable. All right. Little Moses needed compassion. Little Moses needed understanding. Little Moses needed
I'm putting on my gambles. I don't know why Moses is crying.
So guys, let us all cry with little Moses.